You know, it's a sad thing to say that we've had to wait by next year 14 years for a sequel to The Incredibles. But what's sad about that? The fact that Cars is now a trilogy.
I feel the wind run through my hair. Top down, the sun's gonna lead us there. Ray-Bans and this 6-4's all we need. Don't let your head get in the way. Just let your heart be wild and free. Open the door, jump in.
Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Disney Pixar's Cars 3. Directed by Brian Fee and starring the cast from the first two: Owen, Wilson, Larry the Cable Guy, blah blah blah, and with some new people like Chris Cooper, Cristella, Alonzo, etc, etc, etc. So, the latest offering from Pixar, Cars 3. So the story is basically that Lightning McQueen is still racing. He's getting older and he's going up against this new race car named Jackson Storm, who has a lot more technology at his disposal, and Lightning McQueen wants to exceed his speed limit and race him. So he has to go to the Rusty's Center and train himself up again to try and beat him, and he runs into Cruz Ramirez, who is his personal trainer, and she tries to help him, and he has to basically prepare for a big race against Jackson Storm. Yeah, that's it. So, that's the plot of Cars 3. So, Cars 3, I am going to be absolutely honest with you guys. I wasn't a fan of the first two Cars movies. The first movie was very dull. It was a bit of a drag. Not much really happened. It's the longest Pixar movie as well, actually. I think it's the longest Pixar film. It's short of 2 hours, so it's very long for Pixar. The second one for me was just a little bit better. It was a wafer-thin improvement, and it appealed to the James Bond fan in me, but it still wasn't great. The story was convoluted and overstuffed. This one, it's basically more of the same. Cars 3 is a major disappointment. What can I say? But to be honest, what I will say is that it met my expectations. You know, the Cars movies, I've said this many times before, the Cars movies are not Pixar movies that are made for the audience. When they are, but there's not really an audience for them. They're made for the filmmakers themselves. John Lasseter, this is his baby, and I appreciate all the work that has gone into the Cars movies, but it doesn't resonate with the audience. And, you know, John Lasseter, you know, has a lot of nostalgia towards cars and automobiles. And, you know, so that's one of two reasons why these movies have been made. The other reason is the fact of the merchandising, is that the toys sell money. Not the toys sell money, the toys make money. And that's probably why we have now got Cars as a trilogy. I don't think this needed to be a trilogy at all. I mean, you know, one movie would have been enough, but no. Cars 3, for me, it's more of the same. It's just the same old thing. It even begins in the same way as the first film, like with Lightning McQueen doing his main thing, voiceover, "I am speed," vroom, 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 and then you get the shots of the cars going on the racetrack, and then the music track plays, and then the title comes up. It's the same thing. Like, I've seen this before, 11 years ago. It was in the original Cars movie. And, you know, the story. For me, the story is a fuck it, who cares plot. I don't give a shit about Lightning McQueen and his journey. I just didn't care in this movie. I just sat there going, when's anything going to happen? Because nothing in this movie happens. There is nothing that happens in this film. I mean, nothing interesting happens anyway. I mean, you know, there's only so much of Cars racing that you can watch before it gets tiring, which is why I say also that this should have just been one film and not a trilogy. So anyway, I mean, you know, there's basically, I kind of didn't mind this movie. It was okay. It was just okay. I mean, the first 2/3 of the movie were fine. I kind of I was intrigued by what was going on. I wouldn't go so far as to say I was enjoying it. I wouldn't go so far as to say I was looking forward to seeing how this story was going to play out. But I just wanted to see this just because it's Pixar and to compare it to the first two. So the first 2/3 of this movie, we see Lightning McQueen. He's damaged, you know, he crashes and, you know, he has to try and repair himself and he's trying to rebuild himself and he's trying to, you know, get his mojo back. But he's old, he's aging, and, you know, he's become a bit of a granddad in this movie in the sense that he's getting weaker and slower. So it was interesting to see him try and get himself back on his feet, but basically most of this movie is just him training for a race. So there is no story whatsoever. There's no story that's remotely emotionally engaging. Unless you are a die-hard fan of the first two Cars movies, will you actually enjoy this? For me, I just didn't give a shit, because I didn't give a shit about the first two movies either, so I don't give a shit about this. You know, it was spectacular to see Lightning McQueen crash, and you know his emotional story is kind of interesting, but I didn't care, to say the least. I didn't care about what was going on. I just kind of watched it and went, yeah, this is cool, I guess. And then, they ruined the end of this movie. They ruined it so much. I agree with Alan Kalo. The third act of this movie sucks. The third act of this movie took the story in a completely random direction. What the fuck? Basically, there's this stupid fucking plot twist. It just comes out of nowhere, and the focus is now changed from Lightning McQueen to another character. I'm not going to say the name of the character in case you actually want to see Cars 3. I was like, what the fuck? Hang on a minute. What? I get why they did it in terms of the story and Lightning's gesture to the character. You know, it made sense, but I just thought, no! Oh, what? No! I did not want to see Cars 3 go in this direction. Bad Pixar. Bad Pixar. What the hell were you thinking when you wrote this script? I mean, it's like, who's the main character now? I don't get it. It's, you know, in terms of, like, emotionally, I get why they did it, but in terms of thematically for the story, it makes no sense. Why, all of a sudden, in the third act, would you change focus from one character to another? Who is the main character of this movie? Is it Lightning McQueen, or is it another character who I'm not going to mention? What? It's so confusing. The script for this movie is just poor. It really is. And, you know, I couldn't give a crap by the end of it. And I didn't care about the emotional story of that character and, you know, that they always wanted to race. I'm not going to say the character. I didn't care about that story at all, and I thought that was so convoluted, and it just came out of bloody nowhere. Well, what I will say is that Cars 3 is actually my favourite of the trilogy. Yay! For the simple reason of, it doesn't drag as much as the first movie, and it's not as convoluted as the second movie. For me, the second movie's plot was overstuffed and a little bit all over the place. So this has at least the plot, you can follow it. It's not. It's basically just a simple film. You can watch it and it's fun, and it actually moves fairly quickly. The pacing is actually the best of the trilogy, which is good. But again, it's disappointing. It's just poor. Like, basically, there's not much of a story. It's about a guy who wants to race and who's trying to find his way back. There's nothing. It's nothing. This movie is nothing. There is no emotional resolution in this movie with Lightning McQueen because of that stupid plot twist that changes the focus and makes this person, this other character, the main focus. You're like, whose story is this? Is this Lightning McQueen's story, or is this that character's story? What is going on? It's so misguided, and for that reason, Cars 3, it's a major fucking disappointment. You know, I would have passed this movie off if the third act was the same as the first two. If it was on that same spectrum, I would have given it a pass. I would have said, yeah, it's passable. I'll write it off. It's the end of the trilogy. It's fine. It'll do. I can't even give this movie a pass. I can't. Because of the way it ends. The script is it gets so messy towards the end. It doesn't know what it wants to do. It's conflicted with who is the main protagonist. I mean, let's go over the characters, shall we? Lightning McQueen, Owen Wilson is back in this role. You can tell he's really enjoying himself. He's really emotionally invested in this part. So, good for you, man. And his performance is very good, and he has a lot of feeling. Yet again, he's good. I like Cristella Alonzo as Cruz Ramirez. She's good. Chris Cooper is good as Smokey. Nathan Fillion as Sterling. Larry the Cable Guy as Mater. Now, he has a lot less to do in this movie. I think he appears in like 3 or 4 scenes, which is fine, and I think that's appropriate, because I don't think Mater was meant to be the main character. I feel that he's better as a supporting character. You know, because Cars 2, I think, would have benefited if Lightning McQueen was the main character. And Armie Hammer, who plays Jackson Storm. Jackson Storm is supposed to be the rival that Lightning McQueen, you know, goes up against. But he's not in the movie very much. He doesn't do fuck all. He's only in the film about 10 minutes, and you know, he's not nearly as annoying or intimidating as Chick Hicks was in the first film. He's basically a nothing antagonist. He's there, he does nothing. You know, the movie isn't terrible. I mean, the animation is beautiful, of course. Like I said, the opening race was good, and the crash scene was particularly spectacular. I like Sally in this movie. She's good. Bonnie Hunt, who voices Sally. But for me, there is nothing in this movie that I just couldn't give a shit. But it's the best of the trilogy, so well done, Pixar. But, you know, I've got nothing else to say. I cannot recommend that you see Cars 3. I can't recommend it. Unless your kids really, really do want to see it, then fine. But no, I would not recommend it whatsoever. It's completely misguided. I mean, it is beautifully animated. It's basically, you know, race, stop, race, training, race. Lightning McQueen no longer the main focus. This character the main focus. It completely damages the film. And this is a poor end to what already was a poor trilogy. You know, it's pretty much consistent with the first 2. All I wanted was for this to be a decent movie, and it disappointed me. It really did. I thought if the third one could at least be decent, I would be okay with it. I'd write it off. I'd be a satisfied customer. But no, it is disappointing. I could say that it's okay, but yeah. And I don't think the comedy's brilliant. There are fleeting moments of it. It can be funny. Who directed this movie? Brian Fee. His direction is not great. I mean, to some extent, I'm kind of intrigued by the whole technology aspect. The fact that the technology's moved on since the first 2 films. But that's not enough to save the movie. Intriguing concepts with some alright character moments and some, you know, cool animation doesn't save this movie at all. It's going to be completely forgotten about by the end of the month, and I have no desire to see it again. But it's the best of the trilogy, so I have nothing else to say about this. The score. Who did the music? I have a feeling I might know who that is. And it's, you know, what can I say? I also got bored of this movie. This movie is basically a bore. It's basically a bore, you know. It kind of drags in the first 2 acts and the third act as well. It does drag, but not as much as the first one, which is why it's better. I'm trying to know who did the music. Music. Where are you? Music by Randy Newman. The music's alright, I guess. There's that theme from the first movie, the dun da 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 dun. But this is a dull, uneventful animation film with not much soul. It's a boring, unemotionally satisfying film. It's not great. I'm sorry, John, and I'm sorry, Brian, but you know, I expected more. I'm glad that you have a lot of deep nostalgia when making this, but nothing resonates with the audience. I mean, if you look at the Toy Story trilogy in comparison to the Cars trilogy, major fucking difference. So, you know, at the end of the day, Cars 3, I'm going to rate it a 5 out of 10.
I feel the wind run through my hair. Top down, the sun's gonna lead us there. Ray-Bans and this 6-4's all we need. Don't let your head get in the way. Just let your heart be wild and free. Open the door, jump in.
Yep, and I rated the first two movies a 5 out of 10 as well. So at least it's consistent. But yet again, like the second one, it is a wafer-thin improvement. Ugh. What can I say? And I also wanted to play you guys a very short reaction, because I saw this movie with a subscriber of mine, Nicholas Payne. We're actually friends at college, and we live rather close to each other, so we're at the same local cinema. We came out of the cinema watching this, so I just wanted to play you guys a little reaction. I probably should have done this at the start of the review, but I'm doing it here, so you can get to see him. And please subscribe to him. I'll put the link down in his channel below. He's going to review Cars 3 as well. I'll put the link to his review in this description when he posts it.
Okay. Hi, it's Nick Payne and Ollie Pajak, aka
Hello.
Mr. TARDIS 11,
Hello.
and we've just seen Cars 3.
Yes, we have. So yeah, and we saw this together. We're on two separate channels, but we're actually college friends, so
Yeah.
we live rather close to each other. Yes. Would you recommend it to people?
Yeah, well, mainly for families. It's not
Yeah.
quite as good a family film as Despicable Me 3, but I think it's okay. I think
Yeah.
children will like it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a
Family.
kids offering. I don't think adults are going to really think much of it.
No.
It's perfectly fine, but I don't think it's going to.
It's nowhere near a bad film.
No, it
Just a
basically
pretty
feels
good
to
one.
me like just another Cars movie. It's more of the same.
But
And
slightly better.
It's harmless, a bit better than the other two, but not really. That doesn't say much to me. So yeah, kids will like it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be one of the most recognised Pixar.
No.
It's going to be completely forgotten
In a few years.
in a few years. Well, maybe by the end of the year. But
Yeah.
I think.
See how Coco turns out.
I think that was just going to move on to that. Yeah, Coco is the
Next one.
is the next one that they're going to offer, which is in November. So I think that will probably be a little bit more enjoyable than this. But yeah, so
Someone's playing music I like in the background.
yeah, and I also want to give a mention to Alan Kalo because Alan Kalo saw this movie a month ago, and I watched his rant on Cars 3 because he did a rant. It was hilarious. So I just want to say, Alan, thank you for warning me about that stupid twist that they threw in at the end when they changed the focus from Lightning McQueen. Because at least I was prepared for it, unlike you. But thank you, Alan. Thank you. So yeah, that's really it. What can I say? I hope that the next Pixar movie, which is Coco, will be a lot better. That's coming at the end of the year, around November time. So I'm going to update my ranking of the Pixar movies after I've seen Coco and I've reviewed that movie. So for now, the original ranking will stay there. Cars 3 will be added into the ranking with Coco at the end of the year. So yeah. But that's it, guys. Thank you all for watching my review of Cars 3. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Put your comments down below. Let me know. And stay tuned for my Men in Black 2 review, which is coming very soon, and my Planet of the Apes ranking. So, thank you all for watching. And as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS 11. See ya.